here's a good plan of what the government could do to make more housing options available for individuals with physical or mental or intellectual or emotional handicaps, providing tax breaks to landlords to not increase their rent if their roommate or whoever leaves, or if they're alone and they're allowed to raise the rent for them. I mean, I'm not having that issue, but at one point I had that issue, and others face that issue, and others don't have like a godfather or like people that really care about them enough to help them. So yeah, I just feel like for those reasons, or people that are like taking care of kids when they're barely getting by due to no fault of their own, or taking care of people like that, they should get I think the landlords should be given tax breaks so that way they will not increase the rent. You wonder why I'm suggesting that such approach like that? That is due to the fact that I found out that if they just made government sanctioned rent limits and rent control like they do in New York and other states, 99% of the time it's hard to find housing due to the fact that a lot of the landlords would not see the business as being as lucrative. They wouldn't be nearly as rich from it, so a lot of the times they'd retire, or they'd increase the bills, or if the house needed repairs, they'd be very slow or give them bad repairs. Or some people would take advantage of the rent limits and they'd be doing horrible things and squatting and doing like what my people in Columbus did in my old place, where they were committing theft and leaving bed bugs, and nothing was done because the police didn't really get involved. But yeah, so yeah, I think the tax breaks will be a good thing for the politicians to give to the landlords. They should do good on their own, but they wouldn't. If it meant them only having 2 homes and 5 or 6 cars instead of 7 or 8 cars, no, they wouldn't do it. Because in my old place, even though it would have cost them several $100,000 for me to remain there, they wouldn't do that. Even though they would have still had all their bills paid, still went on numerous vacations, had several cars, and maybe owned extra homes, that wouldn't be good enough for them. They'd find some way to try to get rid of me. So I think those are a good plan. Tax breaks given to them to not increase the rent by an extreme amount. Maybe not totally give them a tax break to not increase it at all, but give them an incentive to not drastically increase it, like not quadruple it like some places do, or triple it, or quadruple it, or whatever they do. So I've had that done once, and I know others that have had that done. So I just think they should give them a tax break to not increase it by, not increase it by any more than $300 or so. But only give it to people that would have to benefit through people like that. So it wouldn't just be people like everybody. Everybody is equal, but some people could benefit from it more. And I do not like how certain people give me accusation of communism or socialism due to it. I mean, I am definitely socially conservative in most ways, but this is one liberal aspect I support, not the aspect of rent control. Enough about politics. This is ethics. So I literally talked to a person that signs off for houses that makes $100,000 a year. I mean, I wasn't trying to get a house, but I met him in town. And he's like, forgive my cold. He said, even if they were in danger and bad things were done to them, that's not me, that's not no one I know, but even if such a situation had occurred to somebody and the police wouldn't get involved, he still wouldn't do it because he wouldn't be making as much money. I'm not saying he should give everybody free housing or cheaper housing, but his company would still be rich and thrive. But you know how some rich folks, I'm not saying the majority of rich folks, but some would hurt others if it meant they'd get like a second or third home. I'm not saying that no one should be allowed to be rich or that it should be harder to be rich or that in tax dollars should never come from the middle class, not the low or medium or high middle class. Or even the ones that are like slightly or moderately in the rich class either, because if they own businesses, they'd raise the prices of their products to overcompensate, or they'd just let go of their workers. They'd be upset. So that's happened quite a bit before. So that's just an advice that I think would be good. Giving incentives for the landlords to not drastically increase the rent for certain individuals that would benefit from it. Especially if they have if the cheapest place there was to go if they got evicted was too far away from their family or the people that could help them. Because I had to leave the north end of Columbus in the past because my mom's passing. I mean, that neighborhood was bad, but for other people, if it would have been like that street that I lived on was not bad, but yeah, I wouldn't want others to live in my former scenario either. The bed bugs were bad. I wouldn't have wanted to deal with that, or the thieves. But yeah, other people, like if their spouse or relative had passed, such laws would benefit them. That's my thought for today. And that guy was wrong for saying that. It's funny he has cross tattoos, yet he thinks like that. I mean, damn, would Jesus harbor such thoughts in his brain? No, he would definitely not.
Multi-time Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. Luckily for Spitfire, to be fair.
Bye, y'all. God bless. God loves all y'all. Remember, suggest this to the politicians of the state of Ohio and the ones nationwide. They'll likely ignore it, but maybe let's start a social movement with this issue. Give me a like if you agree. I mean, I'm not begging for likes, but it'd be good to start that way. I want no glory for it whatsoever. I'm not seeking that. I'm merely providing an opinion.